It is the calm before the storm. Over the next 3 to 4 months, college football recruiting is going to go absolutely berserk, and Nebraska is expected to make a push like we've never seen before. So in today's video, we're going to sit down and predict the entirety of the Huskers 2026 recruiting class. We're going to go over every single prospect thereafter, which ones I think will commit to the Huskers, which ones will not, and then we're going to talk about whether I believe Nebraska is going to get a top 20, top 15, or even a top 10 class in America. So really quick, jam-packed recruiting update. I am fired up about this one. It's going to be very fun. If you're fired up too, hit that like button. And also, if you support what I'm doing here, daily Husker football content, recruiting videos just like this, we have a big spring practice update coming tomorrow. Please hit that subscribe button to stay in tune with your favorite team. Once again, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over this massive Nebraska recruiting update. This is going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm going to predict the entirety of Nebraska's 2026 recruiting class. You know, it's just fitting. We're sitting here on April 5th. College football recruiting is about to go crazy over the next couple months, as we've talked about time and time again on the channel. The summer months are when all the commitments happen nowadays, right? In May, June, July, that's when all these prospects commit. So right now, Nebraska is only sitting with 3 commits currently in the class: CJ Brana, Deion, Witty, and of course, Dayton Raiola. But over the next 3 to 4 months, they're probably going to add on about 20 guys. So using the 24/7 class calculator, we've done this before, I'm going to project every single player who I believe is going to commit to Nebraska, and then we're going to talk about whether or not it's going to be a top 20, top 15 class, or top 10 class if all of this happens. So right off the bat, Nebraska has a team score of 55. Now, in order to get a top 20 class, you basically need to get a team score of 240, which again, will add points as I add on these recruits. In order to get a top 10 class, you need to get a team score of about 280. And in order to get basically a top 5, top 3 class, about a score of 300, 310. So keep that in your back of your mind. Again, top 20 class, 240, top 10 class, 280, and so on. So let's start things off predicting who I believe commits to Nebraska. Now, right off the bat, quarterback will go down the line. I believe Nebraska, at this point in time, will probably not take another quarterback in this class. So Dayton Raiola will be their only quarterback. Let's move on to the running backs. Who do I believe commits to Nebraska? Because they're going to take 2 in this class. They've made it very, very clear that there's going to be 2 running back commits. Now, the first guy who I think commits is going to be Zevin Walker, of course, coming out of Raymore in Missouri. He's basically down to Nebraska, Kansas, Notre Dame's in there, a couple other regional schools. But Zevin Walker, incredible speed, incredible explosiveness, 5'10", 180. I mean, he's just one of the fastest guys. Nebraska's been going after him for a while. I do believe he signs with the Huskers. So he will be the first guy that we add to this class calculator, and right off the bat when we add him, they already get bumped up to 76. So that's the first running back I expect them to land. Now, Brian Bonner is another guy that Nebraska's going after very hard. He's expected to go take an official visit to Nebraska this summer, but I think because of the fact that they're going to take Zevin Walker, I don't expect them to land Brian Bonner in my predictions. So they will miss out on Brian Bonner. I do expect them to take a second one, though, and this is going to be Jamal Rhule. And it's not because of his last name. Nebraska's been very high on this guy. 6 foot tall, 210 pounds. Again, guy who can basically do everything right. Has some good speed to him, but you like the ability to lower the shoulder. More of that power back in this class, and he's been trained to the Huskers. He's going to take an OV. So Jamal Rhule is the second guy I'm going to add here, and those are the 2 running backs that I'm going to predict land with Nebraska. Now let's go to the wide receiver position. I'm going to start things off. I'm going to be a little bit optimistic about the wide receivers and who I think we land, because Dittman Shorts, you know, he's only been in Nebraska for about 3 months now. He's already proved that he's probably the best recruiter on this staff. Ryan Mosley's a stud, man. Ryan Mosley is a really, really good player. And previously, you know, if you told me, you know, if Garrett McGuire was going after him, I would have not said Nebraska was going to land him. But, you know, with Dittman Shorts, I'm never going to sell him short at all. Pun intended there. I'm going to project Ryan Mosley lands with Nebraska. Dylan Raiola gets a big 6'4" target at the wide receiver spot. Then, keeping it with the wide receivers, I expect Nebraska to land 2 more. They have Deion Witty. They now have Ryan Mosley. I think they do land Jabari Brady. That kind of feels like a package deal. Those guys are friends. That's going to be a little bit of harder recruitment coming out of Florida. But, again, he's also coming on an official visit. Really like where Nebraska stands there. So we'll put in Jabari Brady. And then the last guy who I think they will land, who Nebraska's been trending in a good direction for, Jaden Warren, 6'2" receiver coming out of Texas. Really good speed on him. He's penning down an official visit to Nebraska as well. And again, I think Oklahoma's in this mix here. You got Houston, SMU, Arizona. I expect Nebraska to really get involved here with Jaden Warren. So those are the 3 receivers I expect Nebraska to land. We'll get Jaden Warren here. And then we will get Jabari Brady in here. So look at that. Already, this class is looking very, very good for Nebraska. A little bit optimistic, right? But I expect him to land about three 4-star receivers. I'm never going to sell Dakota Short short. Again, he is a really, really good recruiter. Tight end. I expected them to land 2 tight ends in this class. Again, they're going to lose a couple probably. They already lost a couple to the portal. They're going to lose some, next December to the portal. So they're probably going to land 2. Camden Jensen is the first guy I expect them to land. Second guy I expect them to land is Lincoln Watkins. These guys are kind of the yin to their yang. Camden Jensen, more of a blocking tight end coming out of Colorado. Lincoln Watkins, more of that athletic, vertical threat tight end who could stretch the field. Those guys are already good friends. So those are the 2 I expect Nebraska to land at the tight end spot. The kid coming out of Anaheim, California, I can't think of his name right now. I really, really like his game. I don't expect him to land with Nebraska. And then Isaac Jensen on Nebraska. Out of Millard South, I do not expect him to sign with the Huskers. So Lincoln Watkins and Camden Jensen, we'll put those guys in really quick here. Camden Jensen. And then what was the other guy? Lincoln Watkins. So again, Nebraska, already a good place according to the team score here. Now let's get to the offensive line. I expect Nebraska to take roughly 5 offensive linemen in this class. Kelvin Obot. Again, we're keeping things a little bit optimistic, right? Because I expect Nebraska to win a lot of games this year. Kelvin Obot is pretty much already down to us, USC, Michigan, and Oregon in his recruiting process. Nebraska's expected to get an official visit from him this summer. I like what the Huskers stand. Very, very athletic prospect, number 1 guy coming out of Idaho. Like where we stand. They're expecting to land with the Huskers. Deacon Schmidt, same thing. Been blowing up recently coming out of Colorado. Huskers have been doing a really good job in that state. He's penned down some official visits to Bama, Tennessee, Oklahoma. I mean, he's been blowing up. But like where the Huskers stand here, I will project he lands with the Huskers. Ryan Murat's an interesting guy. I don't know if I'll project him to Nebraska right now. And then Jax Tanner out of Idaho, I'll say that he lands in Nebraska. He's kind of a package deal with Kelvin Obot at that guard spot. And then one more, Brett Killjoy. You know what? We'll keep it optimistic. This is a 4-star out of IMG Academy. I expect him to land with the Big Red. So let's plug these in to the class calculator and see where we stand. Starting off with Kelvin Obot. Then we have Brett Killjoy. Then we have Jax Tanner. And then last but not least, I'm going to put in Deacon Schmidt. And that will do it for the offensive side of the football. Okay, there we go. Let's put Deacon Schmidt. And we're already a really good place. We're at 220. I told you guys, in order to get a top 20 class, you need to get about 240. And we haven't even done the defense yet. So let's get things started with the defensive line, who I expect them to land on the D-line. Titan Davis is somebody who's trending to Nebraska. The Huskers just officially locked down an official visit for him. I think he locked down 2 others, I believe, with Alabama. I can't remember what the other one was. It might have been Georgia too. So he's down to 4 schools. Again, it's going to be hard to land this guy, but Titan Davis really like where Nebraska stands. Oh, I think it's Michigan. I think it's Michigan and Alabama are the 2 schools he's penned down officials to. But like where Nebraska stands here, I expect him to land Titan Davis on the D-line. I'm going to give him Mikhail Blade as well at that edge rusher spot. Had a really, really good visit when he came here at the end of February, or the start of February. I'm going to pen him down. And then Valdon Sony is somebody who I know I'm going to get a question about in the comment section. I don't expect him to land with Nebraska, but I just want to talk about him because I know I'm going to get questions like, do I think he's going to land with us? I do not think so, but that's a really, really athletic player. So I only am projecting right now 2 defensive linemen to sign with Nebraska, Mikhail Blade and Titan Davis. There's so many unknowns with the D-line right now because with our new D-line coach, right, he's still kind of getting his feet wet, so we don't know all the guys he's going after, but those are the guys that I feel comfortable projecting to land with Nebraska. So we're already at 240. We already landed top 20 class. Let's keep things rolling with the linebackers. I got 3. I got 3 here that I think Nebraska is going to land. Cameron Wilson. I'm gonna make a bold claim here. He committed to Syracuse about a week ago. Very, very athletic player, very speedy. I just got a weird feeling about this. I got a weird feeling that he's going to flip from Syracuse to Nebraska. Not anytime soon. I don't know. This is just one of those where I'm going to look back on and say, hey, man, I'm putting my take out there. I'm going to say Cameron Wilson flips to Nebraska. Another flip here. I think Jordan Campbell's going to flip to Nebraska. That's less of a hot take, right? He's expected to take an official visit this summer. And then I'm going to throw one more on here. Ja'Cory Smith has been training to Nebraska. He's taken an official visit here this summer, along with Arkansas. You got Kansas State, and Oklahoma, so some regional schools here. But those are the 3 linebackers I expect Nebraska to take. So let's plug them in here and see where the Huskers stand. We got, oh my goodness, Ja'Cory Smith, Jordan Campbell. Oh my goodness, man. Cannot type today. And then Cameron Wilson to round out that unit. All right, last but not least, let's get to the DBs. Hold on, what are we sitting at? We're sitting at 255. So in order to get a top 10 class, need to get up to about 280. Let's see if we can get there. So Deion Jones, the first guy expected to land with Nebraska. Obviously, the Huskers just offered him. Feel good about that situation, so we're going to say he lands. Dominic Turnbull, feel good about him landing with Nebraska very, very soon. I expect that to potentially be Nebraska's next commit. Lengthy corner coming out of Miami. Then you got Cameron Hamel, who really, really was impressed by Nebraska when he came on down about a week ago out of Arizona, 4-star corner. Like with Husker stand, I would not be shocked if he pens down an official very, very soon. I'll say he commits. And other than that, I'm going to throw on 2 more. I'm going to throw on Devin Jackson, and I'm going to throw on Danny Odom, and that will round out that unit. 6 DBs I expect Nebraska to take. Maybe a little too much there, but I expect there to be a lot of turnover in the DB room after this season, so they're going to take about 6 DBs. That's what I'm thinking. So those are the final guys. Let's plug them in and see where Nebraska stands here on the recruiting ranking. So Cameron Hamel, Deion Jones. We'll put him in here. Oh my goodness, spell his name wrong. Deion Jones, Dominic Turnbull, and then 2 more, Devin Jackson. And we're going to throw on, last but not least, we're going to throw on Danny Odom. All right, so that is where Nebraska's class ends up. Interesting, it didn't move very much at the end there. Did you guys notice that the team score, I don't think the team score moved very much at the end. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it was a calculation error. But that is what I expect from Nebraska's class. That is 263. Let's see where that stands. If this was last year's class, where would that be? I do not think that's a top 10 class. No, it is actually. If this happened in the class of 2025, Nebraska would have a top 12 class in the country. So that's what I'm projecting. I'm going to go make my predictions there. I said everything. I said what I think is going to happen. So you heard it here first. If all of that happens, Nebraska is going to land the 12th best class in the country. Now, is all of those predictions going to happen? Probably not. Right? Then we might miss on a couple guys there. But now I'm very optimistic about this Nebraska recruiting class. I think we're going to win this season. Winning cures a lot of things. I think the NIL is in a really good place for Nebraska. I think the new coaching staff, some of the new additions, like Addison Williams, like Kel Shorts, I think they've done a really good job in a short amount of time. So I could absolutely see Nebraska land a top 15 class. It's going to be probably hard for a top 10 class. You might need to land a 5-star, and we're not in a good position to land one. But man, I think it might be a lock to get a top 15 class this year. It's finally the year that Nebraska's moving up the recruiting rankings and making a big move. So, all right, guys, kind of a different video, just making my predictions. Let me know your thoughts down below about everything, right? Who do you think we land? Do you disagree with me? Do you think we land a player or not land a player? Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go big grab. Go, Matt Rhule. See you in the next one.